Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to OU Esports Giving Day. It is 9 a.m., and we're here with the News and Media team. My name is Silas Bales. I'm the News and Media Coordinator here at OU Esports, and we're going to be talking about news and media in the current world of gaming and esports as it's developing. We're going to go around and introduce ourselves first. So we're going to say our name, our major, and then our favorite snack to have at the movie theater. My name's Silas Bales. I'm a journalism major, and my favorite snack to have at the movie theater is Sour Patch Kids.
I'm Ray. I'm a meteorology major with a minor in professional writing, and my favorite movie snack is snow caps.
Hi, my name is Will Edmonds. I'm a professional writing major, and my favorite movie snack is hot tamales.
Hi, I'm Genevieve Backus. My major was in narrative design with 2 minors in history and professional writing. And my favorite movie theater snack definitely has to be the Sour Punch Bites, the watermelon flavor.
Hi, my name is Kerry Thomas. I'm a creative media production major, and my favorite snack is probably, I'd say, just Sour Punch Kids.
My name is Cooper Marshall. I'm the news lead and a journalism major minoring in social justice. I think my favorite movie snack is probably just straight popcorn, like just the classic popcorn.
Classic. All right, let's get started. What place do you think news and media coverage has in the gaming world? What about esports? Who wants to start?
Look at me, okay. You said, repeat the question one more time?
What place do you think news and media coverage has in the gaming world?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we see it like all the time with, there's like a ton of like, publishers dedicated just to like gaming and esports, and then also like one of my favorite I love the writer for the Washington Post, Gene Parker, like all those major news publications also have they talk about gaming as well, so it's definitely like, and it is a growing industry, and we're seeing that especially this year, especially like entry into like TV shows and movies, like it's now more than ever, it's very prevalent.
And there's just so much going on with like the gaming sphere of the world these days, especially in the past like 2 or 3 years, where there's a constant stream of new games coming out, and there's always like an esports division that someone needs to report on, and it's just been exploding in popularity recently.
Yeah, and I think journalists can take 2 major approaches to view the gaming industry as one of entertainment focus, solely entertainment wise, and then as a competitive one when it comes to esports, in the way that sports teams have their own media teams and their own dedicated reporters, the same way that esports has that. So it depends on the way that you look at it, because it's necessary for both aspects.
And one thing that I think that people don't even think about that much is that, like, not only esports and journalism gaming is reporting about the games and like the competitions themselves, but like the culture surrounding it.
Yeah.
That's something that not a lot of people talk about, because gaming culture is so unique from a lot of other things, and there's a lot of journalism that goes into reporting what's happening outside of the game that is really important to the overall ecosystem.
Especially when you look at games like EVE Online, that had that huge battle in that one day that
Yeah, I
pretty much
remember
destroyed
that.
the entire game because
Yeah.
of how much money people actually spend. This is an industry that people genuinely care about in their cultural. It means something to be able to have reporters report on this. Basically, not only validates the fact that we have an esports cultural and a gaming cultural, but also acknowledges its presence and why it's important to understand.
And also kind of thinking back to the sports point, like we are seeing even in like just traditional sports like basketball and soccer, we're seeing a lot with the like fair pay debate that coverage of a certain sport is what leads to sport popularity, which then leads to more coverage, which then leads to more popularity and more money. I feel like the recent women's March Madness bracket is a very, very good example of that. That for the first time, ESPN, when they were, putting, women's sports in the priority, we saw just how popular it was, because of the fact that fan base was already there, like they were ready for it. But because finally it was being prioritized, even people that were more casual about it were getting into it because that spotlight was there. And for esports, that's also very much a very important factor, that if a certain like game or a certain like esports group doesn't have any sort of coverage surrounding them, they're never going to be able to take that next step to get to more popularity, because obviously that popularity is going to lead to sponsorships and more coverage, and it's just this cycle that will keep building on itself.
Yeah, we can even see that in like current esports, like not even comparing it with just regular sports, but like other esports. Like the difference between the amount of coverage that VCT for Valorant gets compared to like an average Super Smash Brothers major, which isn't supported by Nintendo. There's no money going into it except from the people who are putting on the events, versus Valorant, which gets millions and millions of dollars each year and has sponsors by Red Bull and various other companies. Like there's just so much more to substance there, and I think what you were saying is totally valid. Anything else anyone wants to add before? Already? Oh.
No, I was just gonna say, what's my next question?
Okay. Next question. Why do you like to write or make content about games?
That's a deep one.
Because I like them.
That does help.
I think in a deeper sense though, I've always liked storytelling. Even when I was little, all I can remember is like when I'm playing the video games, I usually play like the more story-based ones because I resonate more deeply with them, and then I got into creative writing and writing fictional worlds and stuff. It's just it clicks. It feels right. So and then I get into journalism when I'm coming to the college, and I think like reporting on news is just so interesting, and I want to tell a story about the stories that I'm experiencing, because at a base level, gaming stories are about sharing these human experiences through a very interactive medium, and I want to share those stories that we can share. It feels right, you know?
I feel like that's actually really reflected in your writing and some of the articles that you've put out this semester. It really feels like that you pour a lot into sharing the story with other people, and not only the story that you're talking about, but like your own personality as well. And I feel like that's really reflective.
People like to focus on solely the game mechanics a lot more these days, especially even when it's like if you're looking at games like even more divisive ones. Like if you look at The Last of Us 2, yes, the story was incredibly polarizing, but most of an article is dedicated to a game mechanic, and I appreciate that. I just think that the story in more narrative games is more important than the gameplay, and I want to highlight that. I don't want people to get stuck on what bug still exists in what game, because that's, in my eyes, kind of pointless to hyper-fixate on.
Mm-hmm.
And going off that point, I love your storytelling. You're great at it. I also really love storytelling, and that's really what got me into video games, was watching people play, because I have really bad hand-eye coordination.
Right.
So like, what normally would take one person an hour to do, it takes me longer than that, unfortunately. But what made me stay was the story, and seeing the way that games as an interactive medium, one of the only ones that we truly have, how it connects to the player.
Exactly, yeah.
It's really, really fascinating, but I also love how games use their mechanics with their narrative to make a point. So like in your Autonoma, which I don't know if I can spoil it.
No,
There was a
spoil it
game
very well. Oh my God.
at the end of the game, it actually makes the player think about what to do.
Wait, have you guys actually beat it?
No, I have.
Okay.
Okay, so I really can't
tell me
spoil
can't
it.
say it.
I won't, okay. But what
It's definitely one of the most moving pieces of media I've like.
truly
played.
is
Or
if you haven't looked it up, just look it up. It's seriously beautiful and really
Yeah.
like gut-wrenching. But the way that they do it, and the way that they use the story and the game mechanics to make a point, to really drive home a point that isn't typically made in video games, because it's not about enjoyment at this point. When you get to the end of the game, it's truly fascinating. And I love when games try to convey a sort of meaning through their storytelling, through their mechanics, especially like when, I can't say that because that's a spoil. My bad, guys. But when games use their own mechanics and their stories and they intertwine to make a point, I love it.
That reminds me, like that topic, the Hi-Fi Rush, right? So I guess it's not really a spoilery thing, but like all the other boss fights versus the boss fight with Corsica.
Oh yeah.
That definitely highlights that kind of like narrative importance with a game mechanic.
Yeah, because like you like, and you usually like it's like a traditional boss fight with all the other ones, but with Corsica you're like talking like trying to talk her down, like it'd be like Calm down.
And it's like a little
Yeah.
one choice-based games where they reward you for deciding to explore the entire world.
Yeah.
But if you decide you want to just stick to the story, you're still going to get the story ending. It may be different because you didn't discover all these things, but you will still get an ending.
Yeah.
So the fact that games really encourage you to take your time, but if you don't want to take your time, that's fine as well. And the way they really interact with the player and the way it make you feel the consequences of those actions is truly fascinating to me.
I think for me, just like creating gaming content came from just like playing games from like a young age. I remember like way back when I got like my DS and I got like Spirit Tracks or something.
Yeah,
on the
go
DS.
to game. Go
Yeah,
to game.
like that, and then like Super Mario Bros. Like DS with my sister. Like, I just used to play those all the time. And then like once I got into YouTube, I watched all these gameplay videos because I was like, that's the only thing I'm interested in. So naturally, I was just like, I want to create something like that, or I want to like kind of emulate that. So that's kind of how I got into like creating media with gaming and stuff. And also, it's like a really fun thing to do, like using games and using their story, or like creating your own story through the video. Using the video game like as a medium to tell it. It's like I think it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's a similar story for me as well, actually. When I first got into writing like gaming journalism pieces, it was here at OU Esports. I really wanted to take what I was pursuing as a career, obviously journalism, and turn it into something that I could mix with a hobby, and that led me here. And I think the opportunity for me to mix kind of what I was doing for fun on the third floor of my house in a room with no air conditioning into something that I could potentially make into a career for the rest of my life is something that I really found like rewarding. And I just think that writing about gaming or producing content or videos about video games or esports in general is a great hobby or passion or career for a lot of people that didn't even exist 5, 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar, kind of different. I also have a little bit of, from like most of the people here, a different perspective other than Jen, that I actually have done writing for video games before. So it's kind of given me this like insight into like the games industry, like kind of seeing like how like people that are looking to pursue that as a career, getting to interact with some of those people, how it kind of like all that works and stuff. And I feel like I've always been the kind of person that I always want to like lift up the little guy, look more towards indie games and stuff like that. But definitely working on those games made me want to highlight more of the story behind the games, not just the stories within the games themselves. And like looking at, why were these games made, which was very big in my very first article freshman year with Garden Story, to looking at like wanting to highlight the people that are making the games and all that, and just kind of not just looking at games as like that art form and that story form, but also as like a means of culture in a way.
Yeah.
To piggyback off of that, I'm it's pretty similar story to me. Where like I also like I also played video games for most of my life, and I definitely some of my fondest memories with games. Like I love like the stories and whatnot, but also some of it's just like playing like Smash Bros. Like on the DS at lunch or whatever, stuff like that. It's and then also the development behind those games as well, especially like indie games. Like I think promoting those kinds of games is very important. Like I went to a game dev conference with the Game Developers Association. We both actually.
Yeah, we
both.
went.
So a lot of my favorite conversations were like what you were saying, Ray. Like just like indie developers talking about like how they put their personalities into these games, and just like talking to the developers is like there's so much that goes into it. And then the other thing is also like, and I think I kind of go back reference to the first question a little bit. I think it's also important to have journalism there because there's a lot of like just issues in the gaming industry. Like AAA development is a hellscape, and it's really bad. But journalism helps like showcase the people who are behind those games and helps those who feel like they don't have a voice, perhaps, especially in like really just awful situations. So I think just writing about how games bring together people and who created those games to bring together those people. I think is definitely my favorite kind of writing.
Yeah, game journalism really offers the opportunity for a lot of transparency and to show what it's actually like to be in the game development side of it, because it's not easy. And there's a lot of misconception that, oh, it's pretty easy, all they do is power down this. But then like 2 weeks before the game release, that's when they actually go up. And it's not that case at all. And to have game journalists to dive deep into this and showcase that actually really is beneficial for gaming culture as a whole.
Yeah, definitely.
Alrighty, so Ray had to go and take care of some things, but now we've scooted over a little bit closer to finish having this conversation. Alrighty, next question. With the current drop-off in funding for esports that's been happening recently with companies like TSM and CLG, do you think that journalism coverage or video coverage can help at all? And do you think teams will continue to hire media and content teams?
I mean, they kind of have to, I think.
I sure hope so for
At least like in terms of like if you're putting on like a production, like it costs a lot to put on a production.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it. Even like you're talking about like grassroots Smash Bros community, like all that stuff. There's a lot of money and work and time that goes into that.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to do it for like to show it to a lot of viewers and to be able to get actual coverage of it. Of course, I mean you got to go about healthy ways. You got be a pair of workers and make sure we're not killing anyone, but at least like to an extent. Yeah.
I think that one thing that a lot of like big organizations and teams that have been doing recently that has shown some success is pivoting a lot of revenue profits to content creators that they assign to their team. I think that's a way that like they have this big cash cow that they can use to fund the rest of their organization, and that's something that hasn't even been realized until really like the last 2 or 3 years, when a lot of these like old school esports teams have been around for like 10 or 12.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely been working. Like for example, like FaZe 100 Thieves, while they may not have the best esports teams in the whole world, they definitely are the front runners of content creation, right? And even, honestly, FaZe isn't doing too well either right now.
100 Thieves, they have like the Cash App compound and like the Totino's room.
Yeah. Well, when are we getting the OU Esports Totino's room?
Sponsors,
But
that does bring up a very good point. Like, content creators within those kinds of spaces, they know how to get attention and they know how to push out stuff that people want to see. So like incorporating that more into like a business plan with these teams would definitely like help foster, hey, look at us, we're great, please give us money, we're doing so good, and look, we've got content creators who can make quality content
and
to
I
get
think,
more money.
Something that's happened recently is some really popular content creators like Ludwig, for example, started their own production teams.
Yes.
And they're essentially doing kind of the content creation job that one of us might go into in the future, but they have a platform to share it off of, right? And so they're not relying on these conglomerate esports to help produce that content, but they are esports and gaming adjacent. And so I think that's one way that people in the esports and gaming industry or adjacent to that industry are adapting to kind of financial hardships or a change in the way the industry is working as a whole, to kind of help propel content creation and production into the future.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna kind of say the same thing. It's like, even if like these like big organizations die off, I think a lot of like content creators that are already doing well, they like go to those events or they like them, they're inspired by them, so they're going to do their own versions of those events. Like they have like stuff like the Streamer Awards, and then like all these like content organizations that just do like, they get all their creators together and do like big productions, and it's like, yeah, people like watch them, and it's just because it's like content creators that they like, and it's like makes even more money. So I think I agree.
No, to piggyback off of that, because definitely, like turning towards like what works, like that's definitely something that bigger esports companies need to do, because like Silas, you were saying, there's been a lot of shutdown, especially like I follow a bit of Smash attorneys, and like a lot of those are shutting down. Pretty bad. So yeah, I think I think what you're saying.
And
Absolutely right.
honestly, that's something we've kind of seen, like with, gaming journalism enterprises as well. Although it's a little bit more controversial, they are definitely adapting to a new way of profiting, right?
Yeah.
And kind of, some of it is, questionable. A lot of people have gripes these days with gaming journalism, how it's, not real content, or they're just doing things for clicks. But I think that kind of adaptation will hopefully be refined eventually into a way that it can be both profitable and substantial in a significant way. And I think there are a lot of places that are trying to work towards something like that, but it is in a time like this it kind of is difficult. And so
I think so, and like kind of you kind of brought it up, but I do gaming journalism is what I consume the most of usually, but it also does there's some gripes I have is there is something to say about the going for clicks and whatnot. It's a good model to try and find follow more of what content creators are doing, but I think it is interesting where it's what's the line between journalism and a content creator, because it's a lot of our articles I see in gaming journalism is they'll reference tweets or not really getting interviews or anything.
Yeah.
So kind of at least that's something I feel is I always is whenever they talk to someone who's in that situation or making that game. I think that's always great.
Yeah. Hopefully, as the industry evolves and we see more gaming journalism or journalists or content creators pop up, we can see more in-depth coverage of things like that and make it monetizable in some way.
But also I will say it does work with me.
Yeah. I do end up clicking.
Yeah.
Alrighty, next question. What do you think can help production teams stay afloat in the esports world? We've kind of already talked about that.
Yeah.
So I can go ahead and move on to the next one. What do you think is missing right now from gaming or esports journalism or coverage that you want to contribute to?
I kind of just mentioned it, so yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would definitely want to do something that has a little bit more, providing a more diverse type of game journalist, because the reality is that there are not a lot of women and people who don't identify with a gender or non-binary or gender fluid and stuff like that aren't getting their voice heard within the game journalist kind of community, and just in the gaming community as a whole. It's very hard to break into it already, so some people have more things going for them. So I would love to really be able to bring that new diverse opinion to it and kind of find a way to make bringing diversity in, not in the main focal point, because every time we say, oh, this is so diverse and stuff like that, it's almost excluding everything that's been done.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's something that has kind of plagued gaming for a long time, but these days gaming is America's biggest hobby. I'm not positive on this, but I'm pretty sure 53% of adult Americans play games in some way, shape, or form. And I think
it would not surprise me if that's the truth these days.
and honestly could be even more.
I was supposed to say, I've heard 60.
60.
Reports
Especially with mobile games and stuff.
Yeah, it's so much more accessible for older people.
I know in Europe it's 52.
Wow.
Really?
So it's probably more in America, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think as more and more people start to play games, there becomes a need for more diverse voices in the gaming industry. And it's always been so plagued by just stock standard male gamers.
that doesn't encapsulate just the gaming sphere these days at all. When I'm playing with online friends, not all of us are just white men that are just and doing whatever. It's just so important to have everyone be heard, like you said. And it's cool to see some companies and communities trying to do that genuinely. Bungie is the gaming company that comes to the forefront of my mind about fostering inclusivity and stuff. They are genuinely one of the most supportive, if not the most supportive gaming company for diversity, both for LGBT women and people of color's rights. really cool to see. So I completely agree with you, Jen.
And I think honestly, like, promoting that diversity is just reflective of who's playing games in the first place. Like, if you look at our organization, OU Esports, there's just so many different types of people who come from so many different backgrounds and so many different places. And I think in gaming as a whole, that's even more true than many other groups or types of people or hobbies. And I think that as we kind of, help to promote diversity, that will become better.
Yeah.
I know that's like obvious, but anyone else? What types of coverage do y'all want to add to the gaming scene?
Something that Ray was talking about is indie games. I would love to provide more content about indie games. In an organization on campus, I focus solely on narratives in video games. So I love to be able to start to break down different narratives. Oh, this is something that they do that's really good. Like the world building is immaculate.
Yeah.
I remember I was reading an article about Hogwarts Legacy, and one of the biggest critiques it had was that you could literally use unprovokable causes and kill people, but there's no morality standard, so it doesn't really mean anything. So you can just do it, and someone's like, shouldn't have done that, but in a British accent, it's like, shouldn't have done that, and then it just goes on, as if nothing happened, and it's like, if you're gonna you're gonna put that choice in the game, and it should impact it.
They
in
do
some
that when
way.
like Red Dead Redemption 2 has existed for how long and has a much better morality system.
Yes.
I actually do think though that there has been kind of almost like, I won't call it an explosion, but it's been a lot more indie game like promotion and coverage, like,
and then with like the Game Awards having an indie game section and stuff for a lot of their awards, it's a lot more like creativity comes from these games these days. As sad as it is for AAA needs to step up. They need to step it up.
The pandemic was a dark amount of years, and everybody was like, I'm gonna make a game. I'm here for it. I love it.
Right?
I
think that. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that kind of goes back to what we were saying about like how the gaming community is so diverse. Like, as more and more people start to play games and want to be a part of the community, more and more different types of games for different types of audiences are going to pop up. And I think the increase in indie games in the last 5 years or so, really amazing indie games, is a reflection of the community who's playing them.
And it helps how accessible it is to just create a game nowadays. Like it's still a big undertaking, but it is easier to get started than it has ever been to make a game.
True.
And I was gonna say, like you were saying, like there's definitely a lot of people are wanting more different games, like Wholesome Games is one of my favorite content creators right now, because they just promote wholesome games obviously through the pandemic. So just stuff like that. I've seen a lot of they have a direct every summer. A lot of other companies do that. There's one is Paperverse, which is all Paper Mario games, or one's for Mario ROM hacks, and one's for there's one for the haunted PlayStation one. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So there's all of these people want different games than your standard. A lot of games include violence, and they want that's been the standard forever, especially in AAA games. You'd be hard pressed to find a AAA game in which you don't just your goal is to kill things. So I think people are wanting different things now.
Anything else? Great. Next question. What do you think? What do you think the future of gaming or esports journalism will look like?
I think we kind of talked about it a little bit, but the content creator format is becoming more common for sure.
Content creators are at the top of their game.
Oh yeah.
They're doing so much.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's an oversaturation of content creators?
Yes.
I agree.
Yes. Especially when you take into factor sponsorships, because so much of the industry is relying on getting these sponsorships. So there's so many people being pick me, pick me, pick me.
Yeah.
And it's great that everybody's doing it, but at the same time, if we're all in this era that everything is sponsorship based for us to make money, then that's a problem that we have to fix.
Well, it's also interesting because it's also dependent on an algorithm and search engine optimization.
And that's been the big issue and thing that everybody's been having issues with, whether it's YouTube or Twitter these days, and it sucks.
Yeah, well, and a lot of things is especially I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but like especially like with content creators, like it seems that like white men content creators are coming more in like the algorithm like prefers that over like like people of color or other genders. Like isn't like what are the top 3 Twitch streamers right now? Like it's like
Number 1 actually I think is Ibai, who is a Spanish streamer.
oh really? Okay.
But I don't like when people think about Twitch, no one thinks about in America at least Ibai because he's a Spanish content creator.
Yeah.
Like you're thinking about XQC.
Yeah, XQC like
or
Post
Kai
Racing,
Cenat.
yeah.
Actually, Kai Cenat might be the biggest streamer right now.
Yeah, is Ludwig pretty big right now?
He's on YouTube.
Oh, is he?
Oh yeah.
Who am I thinking of?
Ludwig moved to YouTube last year.
Oh,
But,
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's becoming a little bit better. I would agree. Like, I totally agree that, you know, it has been largely dominated by white men, like we said earlier.
Yeah.
Like,
I think I don't know if anybody here watches Corey Kenshin, but he made some really good videos about the topic a couple of months ago when a lot of his videos were getting copyright struck and demonetized. He made a very, very excellent point about that, and it's definitely a huge issue.
Yeah. And then as big companies like, you know, like try to promote, you know, like, you know, you can do anything. You can become, you know, the creator of your dreams. Whenever that's not really true, because it's still a big company that has standards that they want to hold and like.
Yeah, they want to promote like certain
Yeah,
things that
they got
their band like their brand the best.
Yeah, and you know, like make investors happy. So like.
that's always going to be a problem, unfortunately.
Money is always going to be the issue.
Yeah. Anything else? What do you think gaming might look like in 10 years?
Oh.
I hope the metaverse is not going to be.
Oh my god.
I really don't want that to be a thing.
Yeah.
10 years ago, we were playing on the
Xbox 360.
Xbox 360 and the Wii.
Wii.
No, the Xbox One had just come out in 2013.
Oh
Wait,
no!
did
The
the
Wii came out in 2014.
Smash 4 came out in 2014.
Yeah.
So that's
So it's
Wii
2012.
2012.
2012, yeah.
Oh my
Oh
god.
Oh,
So 10 years ago, we were playing on the original Xbox and the Wii U.
Oh, that made me feel so
That-
old. Oh my god.
So maybe in 10 years, we'll be playing on a new Switch model. We'll see.
They're always talking about the second that the new gaming generation comes out. Everybody's already speculating about the next one.
Yeah, it is interesting though. Like I think I'm interested to see the 2 things I'm interested in is PC gaming and VR gaming. Because PC gaming is making a huge return
And
right
then-
now.
And then a lot of it's more accessible too. Like the Steam Deck is the big accessible thing.
The
for
thing
PC
is, it's just
gaming.
that PC gaming is still like very expensive. Like
Yeah,
I
it
don't do
is.
it because like it's expensive,
Right?
Yeah.
And even consoles are still more expensive. So like Nintendo's like the only one that's like less than like $500.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Like honestly, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I never thought I was going to get into PC gaming just because I'm looking up all these prices about like building your own PC, it's thousands
Yes.
of dollars. And then I learned about the Steam Deck, and I was like, that is literally perfect for me, and you can mod it, and
Yeah.
and I'm glad that like you can. It's a little bit easier to get into PC gaming now.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Do you have one?
Yeah, I have a Steam Deck.
That's so cool.
I got it a couple weeks ago at the sale, and like it's mind blowing just how cool it is, and how it's basically a desktop in your hands.
Yeah.
And that's like one of. I hope there's more like this in the future with PC gaming, because it should be this accessible. It should be this easy to use.
And then VR is like also starting to kind of become accessible. Like the Quest 2 was like a pretty decent price
think
point.
it's like-
Yes,
it's
it's
around
like
300.
250, 300. It's not bad.
Yeah, they raised up the price, I think, but like.
That's when they rebranded it as the Meta Quest.
Yeah. But that's becoming more accessible, and people like that, and it's also maybe more accessible to people who don't like play video games. Like my parents would have tried out VR and they like it, so and they don't play video games often.
I think what'll help is I hope it gets more portable, and I hope it gets more sleek, like like less bulky, like it used to be even like 5 years ago.
I also hope they just have like more like games and consoles.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like big VR games.
I-
I'm like
I can only play
VR
I can only play
VR
VR
chat.
for like so long before I'm like, okay.
VR chat and like Half-Life Alex. That's like the only
Yeah,
thing
and
that
I come
Yeah.
to
Resident Evil 4.
That's what I was about to say.
Oh,
Resident
is
Evil 4.
it VR?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have, not the
it's-
remake.
Oh right.
No, but
right.
it's the original. It's like you can play the.
Yeah.
I
And
remember
Resident
now.
Evil 8, I think they just released it.
Yes,
I
you
think
can
so,
play
too.
that and Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
more
Yeah,
more
like,
than that.
so yeah, other games like No Man's
Yeah.
Sky has pretty good.
So
Phasmophobia?
it's so cool.
Minecraft.
Minecraft,
Is
exactly.
that official? I thought that was like a.
I'm pretty sure there's an official VR mode for something. At least for the Oculus, I think. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
It might be exclusive. I don't know.
Anything anyone wants to add about the future of content creation or journalism in gaming that I haven't brushed on already?
That's a good question. I like ponder for a little bit about that.
You've covered a lot. I feel like.
It's nice when the questions overlap with each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Alrighty, we can move on to our last question before our second segment.
Right.
What is your biggest hot take in gaming?
Oh, you know what?
Well, I'll start.
Do not start with me. I don't know the
Yeah,
answer.
I
What's
can
up,
go ahead
Alvin?
and start.
Yeah.
My hot take is that even though the Nintendo Switch is a terrible piece of hardware, it is the best console.
Interesting.
It is the best
Yeah.
console. Yeah, I just think that
I agree with that.
even though the hardware is not that good and it belongs with the Wii U,
Yeah.
it has the best games.
It does have.
It
pretty
does.
good-
It's
It
best
has
exclusives.
exclusives.
It's the best exclusives. I
And
agree.
that is something you just can't replace.
Yeah.
The PS5, it's great, no games. No games.
Yes.
You haven't played the masterpiece that is God of War Ragnarok,
That's,
have you?
that's
Yeah,
true. I've
that
never
was
played
on
that.
Yeah,
PS4
it's also
technically,
PS4, so like, yeah.
Not Ragnarok. Wait.
You
You're
can
right.
play Ragnarok.
You're right, it is a
Yeah,
PS4.
yeah,
They made
There's
PS5.
only like 3
Yeah.
I think the
exclusives.
only true exclusive is like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
It's like Ratchet and Clank, and then like
Astro's
Astro's remake
Playroom.
if you want.
Yeah, the Demon Souls.
Astro's Playroom.
That game
That's
was
crazy.
That's the best
game
one
is
on the
awesome.
PS5.
Alright, who's next?
I can go.
Okay,
I have two. Is that okay?
that's fine.
One, I think Chris Redfield needs to die in the next Resident Evil movie.
Oh wow!
I said, I
Wait, you
did the
saying
next,
movie?
not the movie. I misspoke. In the next game, I'm tired of that man. He's been through too much.
Is he the main Resident
So you
Evil
wanna
character?
Oh, so he's
Yes,
one of the.
I want
so
to
he's
kill the
one of
mortal punching.
He was
guy.
one of the main ones.
I'm
He was
over
the,
it.
He was the main character in the first version.
I'm
He was, like,
over
kind of
it.
the
I'm
background.
bored.
Robert
Resident
Kraft
Evil
actor.
5 is a
Yeah.
highly
Yeah.
problematic game.
What?
Highly problematic.
Yeah.
I'm almost seeing this man. He changes looks every single game. I'm like, that's not the same
Yeah,
person.
he's kind of just a different guy every single
You're
Yeah,
right
it's a
about
new
that.
personality. So I'm like, we can just replace
Yeah,
it
because
with a
in
different guy.
Resident
Same
Evil
story.
Village, he just like.
The buff.
He's just some buff guy. He looks
Yeah.
nothing
He
like
looked
he did in 5.
He looked like
Yeah.
Mr. X. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
You're right.
But so I think he needs his time is gone. I think
Okay.
it's over. I'm sorry, Resident Evil fans. It's the truth. And
Okay.
two, they need to stop making video games into movies, especially.
Really?
I know, like
That's
the
a
high end
really-
of
that's a
really hot take, yeah.
I'm aware from it that it is. And they need to stop making it into movies because one is kind of uncreative. Two, you change so much about the game that is like almost not recognizable. Raccoon City, I'm looking at you. That movie was bad.
Okay, wait. So what are some? There's a lot of like, like
Are
it's
you
crazy.
saying movies and TV or just movies?
Yeah, because
Just movies.
Oh,
really?
Because of the time length.
Yeah,
that's
I
what
was about to
saying,
say,
yeah.
like, could you really think The Last of Us could have been a movie and been a good movie?
Oh no,
And you-
not at
no.
all.
Like
Yeah.
But like the
6-hour
TV show,
movie.
Yeah.
the TV show made sense and it flowed,
Yeah.
and then even the narrative changes that they made
With
enhanced the
some
story.
stuff, like
But,
it
like-
makes sense as like a theatrical link. Like look at
Yeah.
Sonic,
Yeah.
like those games are already so simple. It makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Mario.
But like if,
Sonic 2 is like
If
the
you're doing
second
a
Sonic
narrative-based
movie's fun,
game,
though.
I don't
Sonic
want
2
you
is
to-
amazing.
it might be my favorite
Yeah.
video
Yeah, like
game
the Mario movie was
adaptation
like
ever.
pretty fun as
Yeah.
well.
I feel like if you're doing a narrative-based game and you know that's narrative-based and you know there's a huge community behind it, you should be very intentional with the way you make games.
Yeah.
Make the game into a movie, and right now they're just not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
well,
that's why I
it's
have that
definitely
hot
becoming,
take.
but like it's becoming more popular. I 100% guarantee we'll see more because like Mario movie just got,
It
like,
just broke the record.
Yeah.
it's
got
the
what?
highest grossing animated movie right
Ever.
now.
Not a whole time,
Okay.
just the opening weekend.
The opening weekend.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
which is still like
That's
insane.
Yeah.
It needs to make, I think, $1.2 billion to be the highest grossing
Really?
animated movie
Which-
ever.
Kind of
What
fascinating,
is-
honestly.
What is the highest grossing?
I
right
think
now?
it is the Lion King remake.
Are you
No.
serious?
No.
No way.
Or
Oh.
Frozen.
Oh,
That's
okay.
probably.
Frozen's fine.
I can double check.
That's a
Frozen
good.
makes sense.
That's a
I'm
good
okay
movie.
with that.
I'll
Okay
double
with it.
check. Who's next?
I think I just figured out mine, and that is they need to stop making Halo. I'm being completely
They
serious.
will never satisfy the fans.
But
they get like
So
support.
that's
They
that's
don't
my
have the
thing
budget.
though. Like ever since Bungie left, 343 has tried it, has like stepped over their own toes, trying to like live up to the hype of the old
It's
Halo.
so hard. It's so
And they've
hard.
fallen on their face 3 times now.
Yeah.
Each one, arguably more worse than the last.
Yeah.
Because like With Halo Infinite, well, I played it like launch day, and I love the campaign. It's really good. I like what they did. But the campaign was quite short, and it's basically a soft reboot of the entire series.
Yeah.
And then don't even get me started on the multiplayer. Don't even get me started on how like awful the support has been for that. They just need to let Halo rest at this point. I know it's a classic, and I know that like it's gamers' childhoods, but that I don't think it needs to keep going. If 343 has just pissed off their fans so much, you know.
It's hard, yeah. And then but Microsoft is like they're trying to like throw money at it.
Yeah,
it's
because
not working.
it's their main flagship franchise
exactly,
besides Forza. And the
Oh my
Forza
God,
game.
okay. Well, Forza is
Don't
awesome.
knock
I'm not knocking Forza. That's the thing. I think it's
Really?
better. I think it's better.
Um,
Because like Forza Horizon 5 is better than Halo Infinite, and that's just the truth.
Yeah.
It just is.
to finish up our animated movie conversation, it would need to make $1.657 billion to beat the Lion King remake. And then the next, number 2
Is
is
it
Frozen 2,
Yeah.
and then number 3 is Frozen 1.
Okay, let's stop doing that.
I
I
know.
don't know. I don't think Mario's popular. But I
Think
don't
about
know.
this, it's not out in Japan yet.
That's so
You're
true.
right. Japan's gonna.
I think
that's
Mario's
gonna
pretty
make a
popular in
buzz.
Japan, right?
I don't think they were all of them.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay, Ori?
Me, my hot take is I really don't like 2D Sonic, and I don't think
Really?
it's
Really?
ever been like superb.
Are you saying you do like 3D Sonic?
Yeah, I
You
like
like it
3D
better?
Sonic.
Okay,
I
okay.
like 3D Sonic much
Okay.
more,
That's-
and I think that's like the truest version of Sonic, especially like modern now, like because they gave him like personality, you know. He has like the attitude he likes chili dogs, and it's like
True.
none of that is in like 2D
Yeah.
Sonic.
Yeah.
2D Sonic, it's like
He just
Oh,
goes
wow.
fast.
yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
but some of the levels aren't made for that, like Marble Zone.
Oh my
And then,
god.
like,
Oh
all the
my
other
gosh.
Oh my
levels,
gosh,
like,
the
stop,
aqua,
do-
they're like water levels are so
Yeah,
bad.
They're so bad.
You have to stop and do a puzzle, or like stop and wait for a platform and like jump
Yeah.
up. And it's like, I just don't see the
That's
heights
well,
of
see
like
the
2D
thing.
Sonic like
Have
that.
you played Sonic Mania?
I don't
Okay.
like it.
You
I'm
don't
sorry.
like
That's
Sonic?
That's
really
crazy.
See, I
The
did. I,
music is good, but I just don't like
see,
Sonic
I'm
Mania.
not the biggest Sonic fan. Like, I actually haven't played the 3D ones yet. Like, I've only really played like 2 and like the original and Mania, but like Mania's like fixes a lot of the issues of 2D Sonic. I think.
I like when he puts it like that. I kind of agree. Like I've played the original Sonic and Knuckles and Mania, and
Yeah.
I can name how much more fun. I can think of how much more fun I've had playing like Unleashed or even Frontiers lately. Frontiers is amazing.
Yeah.
And they. Oh, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
I was just gonna say my favorite Sonic game is the one where he races the green bird on the surface.
Sonic Riders. Yes.
Sonic Riders is the best Sonic game.
Yeah.
Those are
I
so
like-
good.
I
It's
was-
like,
I
it's
like
like
Sonic
so
06.
creative, if nothing else. It's like
Or
put Sonic on a surfboard. That's so cool.
Sonic races Danica Patrick in Sonic All-Star Racing Transform. Sonic and Wreck-It Ralph go toe-to-toe in that one.
Yeah.
Last one.
Okay, I'm trying to think. There's like 3 that are bouncing around my head. I can do like quick fire.
Okay, quick fire.
Okay, quick fire. To bounce off of your thing, I think the 2DS is the best system ever made.
Wow, 2D.
And, 2DS specifically.
Not even the DS. Like,
No, because like DS is great, but like oh you know.
No, keep going.
Okay. 2DS is great because like it's like the most sturdy out of all the DSs. Like my DSi is not lasted nearly as long as
So true.
2DS, and like the especially the shoulder buttons. It's so much.
They get
comfier.
stuck and stuff.
Yeah, it's got great library too. You got the 3DS and 2DS library. Like,
And then before the Nintendo eShop shut down, all the other stuff there too.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think the most hype game like esports to watch is fighting games for me, specifically Guilty Gear and Tekken.
Okay.
Those games go hard. And then third, this is gonna sound crazy. I really like stories in games, but I feel like there are only a couple of games I'm like, this is like a really good story.
No.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like that makes sense. Like when you think about movies, like
Yeah.
not all movies have great stories.
Yeah.
right?
I love John Wick, but
Yeah, like I'm not praising John Wick 4 for its mastery.
yeah.
Alrighty, well, thanks for coming. We'll move on to our next segment now. Alrighty, we're here for our final section of our segment. As you know, it has been 1 week since the Mario movie released, and we all went and saw it on opening night. Actually, 2 nights after opening night, last Thursday. and we're going to talk about it now. This will be spoiler free, so no one has to worry about. In case any of our amazing fans have not gone and seen the greatest movie of the year yet,
Please go see it.
we hope after this conversation, you all will go and see the movie.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's talk about it.
We can't guarantee we at least contributed to the box office number.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
we certainly did.
Shout out
Okay.
to Mike.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Initial thoughts. Let's start off.
I would say, wow.
Out of 5 Super Mario mushrooms, what would you rate it?
I'd rate it, I think 5 superstars out of 5.
5 superstars
Yeah.
out of 5.
But if we're being
Wow.
realistic, if you're not a Mario fan, it's maybe like a 2 stars out of 5.
Probably, yeah. Straight up.
I was gonna say maybe like a 3 mini mushrooms.
I would
yeah.
Sorry, blue mushrooms. Actually, it's not mini
I
mushrooms.
think I'd give it a 3.5. Like if I'm being realistic, but as a Mario fan, that's the best movie.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Just
Yeah.
don't think about it.
Yeah.
Straight up.
I'm gonna go watch it with my roommates again
Yeah.
this week. So
I think
This was both times.
third time.
Third.
It could be, it could be in game as my most watched movie of the year. So that's at 5. So we'll see.
I think we need to apologize to Chris Pratt. I feel like he did pretty well.
Yeah.
There was some editor for those trailers who had it out for the guy. I
Yeah,
think.
the guy who made the trailer
I think
hates Chris
yeah.
Pratt.
So like 90% of people.
I wouldn't
Fair,
I wouldn't
yeah.
say he's like the best Mario, but he's like I was surprised that it didn't
I wasn't like, oh, that's just
Yes.
Chris Pratt the
Yeah.
entire movie. I was like that for like the first 5 minutes, and I got used to it.
Yeah,
If we
exactly.
have to tier list the performances. in the
I'm
movie.
with this actually.
Number 1,
Jack
Jack
Black. He's on a different level.
There's like one, I won't say what it is, but there's one scene in there that
It's
blew my
iconic.
mind.
It's iconic.
You probably have seen it
You
on
maybe
the
already
internet
have seen it on
already.
social
Yeah,
media
yeah.
because
But if you haven't,
if you
It's-
oh my
haven't,
gosh.
it will probably be performed in this year's Emmys.
It's life changing. Like
yeah,
it truly is.
my jaw dropped. It was like I was like the mask, just like.
I remember like leaning over to Cower and be like, no freaking way.
I know, I was like,
Did
oh
you
my
know
God.
he wrote the song?
Are you
He
serious?
did not.
That's
wrote it.
iconic.
Oh my gosh, he's
That-
oh my
it makes
god, I
so
love
much
Iconic.
sense.
I
When's School of Rock 2 coming out?
I
Like,
need
That's like- that's
the
like
Jack
peak
Black
Jack
solo
Black.
album. Like
this is
right
pretty
now.
close though.
I need the Jack Black
He's in
Renaissance. Listen
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
that.
He's in School of Rock?
Yeah.
He was in it, yeah.
He's
like
You didn't
the
know
main
that?
guy.
He's the teacher.
Oh, you're right.
Okay. No way.
Anyways, this guy.
Okay, who's next?
Jack Black. Then I would honestly say Chris Pratt is number 2.
Really?
Or Chris Pratt or Anya Taylor-Joy.
I did like her as Peach.
I think she was a good peach. Yeah.
I
I'm
I'd
the
say-
biggest fan.
I'd say,
Sorry,
in
guys.
like term of characters, I'd say Toad, but that's just because.
That's
I'm pretty good.
Toad was funny.
Toad is he was my favorite character in the whole movie.
Like he
I don't know if he was my favorite character, but
No,
like,
he's just the best. He's a best friend.
He did good, yeah.
Yeah.
I
he
was
did
kind
good
of
for his
good,
role.
yeah.
He was, yeah.
I want Toad to be my friend in real life.
I wanted more of the annoying Toad screaming that we see in the game.
Yeah,
And I'm glad that we got that.
There's actually a
That's not
surprising amount of it though. Like
Yeah.
they walk through and Mario's like saying hello to everyone, and they're just like,
That was a pretty good.
That was killer.
they should have had me in the movie.
Yeah.
They're gonna call you for the movie
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
sequel.
They're like, we need some extras, guys.
Yeah. So, okay, if we say Toad's number 2, then who's number 3?
I'd say Charlie Day as Luigi.
He was
See, the thing about Charlie Day as Luigi is that he wasn't in the movie enough for me.
That's
to-
That sucks.
That's
That
why.
totally
That's why.
sucks.
Like, I thought he was so good. I was mad that he's really
He
not.
basically
did-
got everything that he was in the movie in the trailer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I can't put him as the 3rd best performer.
Okay. Yeah.
Because he only performed for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I did love the little like Luigi's Haunted Mansion.
It was
Yeah.
very.
Yeah,
I love
there's
that
some
vibe.
reference
We,
they put in.
we can put Charlie Day as an asterisk for number 3.
Yeah. One
Okay.
more. Yeah.
And then Chris Pratt and Anya Taylor-Joy can go as number 4.
Yeah.
And then there's a clear outline.
There's a very. No, there are 2. Are you kidding?
I would say, yeah. No, I know what you're.
Like between Donkey, like Seth Rogen was just Seth Rogen.
He was just he did Seth Rogen laugh at least like.
That
3
was
times.
that really okay. The first time it really got me. Though.
Yeah. Every
Yeah.
single time I was like, oh my god.
Seth Rogen really dropped the ball, honestly.
I
I
agree.
thought he was
Yeah.
a ball.
He definitely
I did
sounded like
too.
he was like phoning in
Yeah.
sometimes, to be honest.
And Well, that's disappointing because Donkey Kong plays a major role
Yeah,
in the story.
I know, he's in it for like a
He's
surprising
in
amount.
it more than Luigi.
Yes, he is.
Totally.
But I do think like Mario. Actually, I won't say because I want to spoil. But yeah,
I had to include like when I was thinking about Cranky Kong.
that's what I was about to say. Cranky
I think
Kong,
honestly,
his voice is
I
weird.
hated it more than just like hearing Seth Rogen.
Like his animation, how he's animated, feels like very dissonant from how like he's voiced.
Yeah, and I
don't know.
didn't like it.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember his voice.
Yeah,
Like, that's how
yeah,
forgettable
yeah.
it was, I guess.
Yeah.
I think a character we didn't really talk about, not really a main character, Luma.
Yeah.
Yes. Luma was goated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it
was
funny
really
the
funny.
first time
Yeah.
we saw
Yeah,
it.
I guess
It's like
I guess Loomis is in the trailer, but it's just it's
Is there-
it's
yeah.
pretty fun.
It's
yeah.
great.
And Mario and Luigi's parents also kind of goaded.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that was so
sorry.
funny. Just the whole.
That
They
whole-
kind of
Oh
just
my God.
bullied him.
Yeah,
they did. Like, you know what?
And they're like, oh my god.
Do you think Mario's mom is named Mia?
Mamma
Mia.
Mia.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Get out. You're not allowed. You gotta go.
Please.
Broadway might have to sue.
You're right.
Yeah, we don't have little kids.
There's a lot of mom for anyone who loves Mario saying Mamma Mia.
There's
It'll happen a lot.
Yeah, it'll happen.
I was a big part of the movie for me was like just seeing all the references
Oh,
and kind
yeah.
of pointing like
Yeah.
I get that
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's
And there were a lot.
There's a lot.
Yeah. There was even a cinema. There's even like an anime reference within like some fight choreography.
That was so crazy.
Did you get that?
Yes, I did.
Please
I
tell
was
me.
like, oh my gosh, that's like a mecha.
I was like, that was a- that
there
was
was
like-
a fight scene where like Mario.
That was an Evangelion
It's like-
reference. Like,
yes, that's it. That was it.
Like,
that was
shot-
what
shot.
I've been trying to figure out like what it was from. And you're right. It is.
No, I
there
leaned
is an
I
Evangelion
leaned over
reference.
to Cowrie and I was like, dude, I leaned over to
Yeah.
Cowrie and I was like, dude,
But it's
that's
just like-
from it.
It's like for everything like Mario's been in from like even like Smash Bros. Like he does some like moves from Smash.
And then I
It's
love
so
the
crazy.
external Nintendo references at the very beginning of the movie. Like he's
Oh,
playing
yeah.
Kid Icarus on the TV.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like-
It's like
Yeah.
Or
Mario
like
Link is
the
like
punch out machine.
yeah.
And then the little if you saw the little R-wing standee on top
Yeah,
of his
and like
TV.
some of his posters are like of like old NES games, like baseball and like karate and stuff too. So
Yeah.
It's kind of weird to think that Mario's from Brooklyn, though.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean that's kind of always been his backstory, though.
Yeah, but when you play the games, you don't really think about
True.
that.
Right.
Like, oh, this is like a
Yeah,
New
he's
York
just
resident.
yeah. That's why I think hopefully the sequel will be like pretty good because like they're just in the.
They're just in the
now.
Mushroom
Yeah.
Kingdom.
Yeah. I think the sequel will be amazing. If you
Yeah.
haven't heard, there's a sequel coming out.
Yeah.
Disney's
Right.
in it. I want Disney.
And there is an end credit scene at the Mario movie.
There are two.
There are
You
mid and
do
Yeah.
not need to stay for the end credit scene.
Yeah,
The
they're
mid credit scene is very important to stay for.
the mid
Yeah.
is very yeah.
It is not mid, as
No,
we
no, no.
say.
It's like very,
Post
very,
credits,
yeah,
it's
very,
viral.
yeah, very good.
But yeah, just look up the end credit scene online. Honestly,
Yeah.
I will say there were a couple times in the movie where I was like, where I was like jawed out.
Yeah.
I can't exactly say point blank what it was because
Interesting.
spoiler
Yeah.
alert.
The movie
I was like,
definitely.
okay.
The movie definitely felt too fast paced for me.
Oh my
That
god,
was-
it's literally like speedrunning a Mario.
I
Like,
literally-
I
yes.
saw a review, someone said that, I was like, no, that's so accurate.
you will not need to put Subway Surfers underneath.
No.
This is
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
made
And that was
for,
like one of
short
the
attention
movies that I
spans.
actually wanted it to be longer,
Yeah.
so more the scenes could have time to breathe.
Yeah,
I was shocked.
I definitely wanted to go through like more environments and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I will say the music was killed.
The
music
music
is-
was
oh my god,
fire.
Drive
Mario,
is insane.
the
It
bass
was
is
so good.
The music was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Probably a highlight of the movie.
I
Definitely.
it came out the day after we saw it in theaters and I downloaded it immediately.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
that
yeah.
good.
No,
It's
I've been
viral.
listening to like the main like.
There's only
from
one
it.
song I need to download.
Yeah, there's only one.
I wish there had been less licensed music. It
Oh
was
my God.
annoying after
Did you
like
know? Actually, okay. There's a scene, like the Mario Kart scene where they first,
there is a track that they replaced and the
Yes, they
tra-
replaced
and
they
the
replaced it with
original-
"Take on Me."
And the original like track from the OST
It's
is
really
really
good.
good.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, it's
in
on-
the official score.
it's on
too.
the album.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Anyways, final remarks. If you had to sum up the Mario movie in 3 words, let's start. Kaori.
No, give me a second.
Okay. Jen. 3 words.
Just don't blink.
Okay.
Okay.
Classic. Will.
See, no, that's boring.
I'll go.
Please, I need to think.
Bad Donkey Kong.
Oh god.
Cooper?
I love Toad.
Okay.
I got one.
Okay.
Jack Black forever.
Okay, already round us out.
It's a me.
Alrighty, I hope you enjoyed our conversations today. I hope you got a little bit of insight into news and media and the current state of esports and journalism and what we do here
And the Mario movie.
and the Mario movie. And thank you for coming. I hope you enjoy the rest of OU's Giving Day stream or OU Esports Giving Day stream. It's going to keep going for the rest of the day until midnight, so please be sure to hang around, donate if you feel like, and please check out our work on SoonerEsports.com or on the OU Esports YouTube page. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Bye.